Anyways, Warehouse 13!
All right, Warehouse 13, you ready?
Ready.
I look like I had lightning in my hair. Okay.
No Santa hats?
I need a Santa hat.
I need my Rudolph nose.
Hold on. I will get my Santa hat on.
I don't have anything Christmassy.
Right.
I don't have anything that's Christmassy right now.
I don't either.
It's all right. I got it.
Okay, well, as long as our janitor has something Christmassy, that's all that matters, right?
Other than my cow onesie.
Okay, I like that. I love the hat. That's awesome. That's awesome. At least our janitor has something Christmassy.
Yes.
I always got to be prepared with you guys.
Hit it.
Yeah,
Now, where'd you pull that from?
What's that?
You already just had that in your office?
Yeah, I use it for podcasts once a year. All right.
Hit it, janitor.
You ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
All right, here we go. 3, 2.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and Neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it.
Welcome back to Artie's Attic. We're a Warehouse 13 fan cast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor, wondering how the heck the warehouse survived its own destruction last episode. My name is SP. And introducing Artie's Attic lead agent and historian who, although absent, is name dropped on average once every 15 minutes. It's Agent Shannon.
Okay. Hi, guys. Sometimes you just surprise me so much that you leave me like speechless.
Which is hard to do for Shannon.
I know, right?
Yeah, rendering her speechless is my superpower. And also joining us, you just heard her, is the warehouse agent who will never watch the movie It's a Wonderful Life again without thinking of her adventure this week. It's Agent Carolyn.
That's probably true. I try to be thankful for all of the things that I have and think about hopefully people would miss me if I was not here.
I hope people would miss me if I didn't make it here. So, good.
Most definitely. The world would be very sad without a Shannon.
I know, right? Be all sorts of quiet and things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Not the loud Shannon, that's for sure. Okay, we are continuing our Warehouse 13 series discussion with the episode that premiered on Tuesday, December 6th, 2011, 15 months before Orphan Black premiered. I'm referring to the Warehouse 13 Season 3 bonus holiday episode, The Greatest Gift, full of callbacks, fan service, alternate realities, epic one-liners, and holiday warmth wrapped in endless wonder. The Amazon Prime Video description of the episode reads, Pete Latimer, played by Eddie McClintock, is hit in the head by an artifact and wakes up to a life where he was never born. Pete must hunt down and persuade the warehouse team, none of whom recognize him, to go on this life or death mission with him to vanquish a long-dead nemesis from the past to get everyone's lives back. Shannon, it's Christmas in August.
Until August.
I thought it was a cute episode. I haven't seen it probably in a couple of years, so it's not always one I go back to. So it was surprisingly how much I remember once I started watching it. The one-liners are definitely in here. It's just seeing Myka and her uptight pencil.
FBI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was he FBI?
Well, yeah.
Secret Service.
Secret Service, FBI-ish. Yeah.
So it was fun seeing their interaction back when she was still the stuck-up agent that she was before she discovered endless wonder.
She's got a couple things that are stuck up.
And what would those be?
Boobies!
Her Tetons?
Yeah, I mean, she's sporting the low-cut business shirt.
The pencil.
You could definitely see. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure, I watched it a couple of times, but I'm pretty sure I caught Pete looking down that shirt a couple of times.
Oh, I'm sure
More
he
than
has.
likely. I mean, they are the Tetons.
But yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. You get to see old characters like James. You don't have thought would see him. I forgot all about him coming back in this episode.
I did like where at the end he says, "Hey Jimmy," and I was like, "Oh, that sounds like it refers to It's a Wonderful Life."
Yeah.
Right.
Now they were friends for quite some time, but James McPherson does have one more episode left. Roger Rees comes back for one more episode next season, but this is his penultimate episode of Warehouse 13.
Well, I think we're about to finally get into episodes that I probably don't have detailed memory of them because it's not my go-to season. This is pretty much where I stopped and hit repeat and go over again, all over again. So, I mean, I do remember a lot of Warehouse 13. This is the season that Data. Brent Spiner. He's in Brent Spiner at the beginning of. He's all through the season actually. So he's the new nemesis, and he's a fantastic bad guy. But that's pretty much what I remember of season 4.
I have to say, for those of you who cannot see SP, he is donning a Santa hat, and it looks rather dashing on him. So that we have a Santa hat for our Christmas episode. And so a well-written introduction you had there with all the callbacks and things. I don't have anything Christmassy on me, so just a shirt with Stitch and Lilo on it.
I got red underwear. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to ask to see that because we try to keep this family friendly on this show. However, we do have some other shows that we could show it on. Okay, we'll just run over that. By the way, this episode was in the fan wiki for Christmas episodes. I went looking for information on the episode, The Greatest Gift, and it was there's a fan wiki for holiday themed episodes or Christmas episodes. This one was in there. Yeah.
Really?
I didn't know there was. If these things exist on the internet, sometimes it shouldn't amaze me, but sometimes it does.
Indeed. So we did have a lot of cool stuff happen in here, a lot of one-liners, but I'm going to go back because, you guys apparently didn't get a couple of the things that I was saying in the introduction. So that's okay. We've had a couple of weeks off. You might not be in the swing of things. So first, we're going to go into and introducing Artie's attic lead agent and historian who, although absent, is name dropped on average once every 15 minutes.
H.G. Wells?
Was H.G. Wells. She was name dropped 4 times, so once every 15 minutes, her name is mentioned.
I caught it.
I didn't, but then again, it's H.G. and I'm always thinking about where she's at, so.
Yeah.
But she is at, now that you mention it, but then again, SP, there's a lot of things that you say in the introduction that it goes right over our head sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't make sense and we just go with it.
Another thing that didn't make sense to you was when I said it was 15 months before Orphan Black premiered. You were probably like, oh, it's probably a throwaway line just because we've been talking about Orphan Black a lot, right? Not so much. Shannon, I'm surprised you didn't catch it.
Brain injury. I don't even know what you're talking about at the moment.
The girl that played Katie, Skylar Wexler, was in one episode of Warehouse 13, 3 episodes of Alphas as Zoe, and 39 episodes of Orphan Black as Kira
Who's
Manning.
Katie?
The little girl at the beginning.
Oh, the little girl.
She was in Orphan Black. 39 episodes of Orphan Black.
She was?
Yes.
Well, I haven't seen it all yet, so sorry.
I don't remember her in Orphan Black, but
played Kira
She
Manning.
was really cute. Zuzu's petals.
Zuzu.
Zuzu's petals, and in this case, it was what was the character's name?
Katie.
Katie. Katie's name. Katie's candy cane that she gave to Pete.
Yep.
Katie is spelled with a C too, by the way.
Oh well, and that's special.
Proper Irish way.
Yes. It was so cute. She gave him a little kiss on the cheek. Thank you for saving Bucky, their dog.
Oh, I she yanking. Oh, hello down there.
What the heck made such a possessed Rudolph's nose?
I mean, you think that Rudolph's nose would be an artifact just de facto, right?
Right. But wow, that was a crazy artifact. Dang.
Yes, creepy looking Santa. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, with all the bad juju that was coming around with it, making the dog Bucky into a reindeer and
hit Pete with the book.
I was like, oh, yeah. Myka comes down. Yes, you had one too many light bulbs. This one.
One specifically. One.
Her special bag.
So for the rest of the time that family lives at the house, they are going to count how many bulbs they have on their holiday display. And if they have more than they have out there today, they're going to be, no, we can't add that extra string.
Right.
Yeah, the power company said we had one too many bulbs.
I'm not being gullible, I swear. There's a Christmas parade at the zoo?
Yeah. Was a Christmas parade at the zoo? That was very creative on Pete's part. Yeah, it was from the zoo because it went inside your house and came out without going in the first place. Totally. People believed it.
What was that one-liner that Claudia was telling Grumpy? You're symphony brown, right? You can't wear the same color. I like that he was wearing red at the end. I like he finally succumbed to her request.
Yeah, and he said he looks like he should be parking cars.
Yeah. But I really like how when he was going around trying to get everyone to either switch with them or if he could go with them. And Mike's like, sure, you can come with me. You know, I'm sure that Hugo would entertain her and she wouldn't miss you at all. And the way he looks at her and grumbles, and she just grumbles right back. You know, I saw what you did there. Yeah.
He just looks at her like, I hate you. And I hate that you're right.
Part.
I almost hate that Vanessa was name dropped and we didn't see her on screen. But the cast here was pretty limited. So you'd think that what happened here is that they just had a limited budget for the episode. Because the only real guest star here is Roger Rees at the time. He was the only one who you could point to as being a notable guest star. And he was returning and he already knew his character was gone. So to be a one-off, that sort of thing.
Well, they name dropped Hugo too. And I just don't like his character. He's very annoying.
I saw...
Well, he was supposed to be.
Just last night or the night before, I saw the Stargate SG-1 episode that he was in. And he played a bad guy in there too. It wasn't an annoying guy. He played a bad guy. He was basically...
Renee, you mean?
Yeah, he was basically like a Hitler on a different planet. If you don't remember the storyline, they're holed up in some sort of underground structure and they find the Stargate and they're being attacked. And they're being attacked because
they found a Stargate?
Yeah, this is Stargate. So Renee's society actually was trying to be they were cloning people so that everybody looked the same. They were like the master race sort of thing. And so they didn't, of course, tell the Stargate that. They just wanted their heavy water because they needed the heavy water, which is 3 hydrogen molecules within. Yeah, it's H3O versus H2O. But they needed it to create whatever power source that they had. So the Stargate SG-1 team was bringing it over so that they could power their defensives because they were almost defeated. And by the time SG-1, because they were enamored by all their technology and wanted to use it, kind of like the Nazis, you know, if you think back to World War II and post-World War II, both the Russians and the Americans took a lot of the German scientists and advanced the space technologies and the bomb technologies and stuff like that for nuclear weapons. The same thing here. They were like, okay, we don't care what your society is doing. We're fighting the Goa'uld and we need to get all this important stuff. So at the very end, O'Neill, figures out what's going on, and they basically create the downfall of their society, and they leave and they close the iris behind them. And the last thing that you hear is a thump against the iris. So, and that was supposedly Renee's character.
Wow.
Yeah. Every time you hear that thump against that thing, you're like, oh, that's going to leave a mark.
It just reminds me how long it's been since I've gone through those episodes.
I'm watching in the originally taped VHS before I throw them out, because I'm throwing them out now. I'm watching them one last time as I'm on the treadmill or on the elliptical, and that episode just happened to pop up, and I'm like, oh, Renee!
You know, I think I told you this before, but when I was pregnant with Michaela, that's when I discovered that show.
Mhm.
And I found all 10 seasons for $150 on DVD.
Yep.
And the first couple months of being pregnant, man, I blew through every season. And then I fall asleep every night. But I fell asleep every night to watching Stargate SG-1.
It's a pretty cool show. It was
Nothing wrong with
underrated
that.
when it first started because it was on a premium cable channel that not
Showtime.
a lot of people had.
It was on Showtime, which I think, in my own personal opinion, is the reason it lasted as long as it did, because it did not start with Di-Fi.
I want to say season 5 or 6, it transferred its flag over to Sci-Fi. It was late. It was mid-late in its run. I've also seen some of the last 2 seasons because Cam Mitchell is there, so I know it's season 9 and 10 because Cam is replacing
See,
O'Neill.
I liked those seasons. I mean, I understand because you don't have O'Neill. I get it. But they did okay. In my opinion, they did okay bringing both Claudia Black and
Claudia
Ben
Black
Crowder in.
really brought it home too. Claudia
Yeah.
Black being in there. A lot
And
of
to
people
bring
just love
them
her.
both together at the same time when everyone's remembered them still. They were on Farscape, and you're like, hey, that show just ended.
Farscape reunion.
And to have the dynamic where they weren't lovey-dovey, but they hated each other at first, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I like the atmosphere. I like having her with Daniel Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good. One of the episodes that I saw, they were on Not a Date at a dinner, and she got kidnapped during that. And of course, it had to come out later. Daniel was with her at the beginning, and Claudia
Yeah.
Black was saying, sorry, they all wanted to go out together to celebrate her coming back and being part of the team. That was the episode that she officially became part of the team. And at the end, they all went out to celebrate. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry, Daniel. We'll have to reschedule our date. And they were like, date? And
Yeah.
Daniel was like, no, it was just a dinner
Not a
between
date.
coworkers.
You know what I
Not
really
a
liked
date.
about that when they joined is I like that Ben Browder's character, Cam, didn't try to date Sam. He saw her as a colleague. They became best friends.
Well, Sam
did
was
not-
still romantically attached to O'Neill.
I know that, but there's so many times that when O'Neill leaves, when Richard leaves in real life, they try to squeeze in the new main squeeze. I'm just so many shows you see hints. Season 5 of Warehouse, you try to make something that was never there to begin with, right? So it would have been weird if Cam was like all of a sudden dating Sam. But yeah, I'm glad that in the end she still walked off to the fishing hole with O'Neill, and they were just best friends.
In the lake that had no fish. Talking about other sci-fi shows that I was watching, Battlestar Galactica was one of them, and I saw Michael Hogan, who of course plays
Her
the father here to Myka, and we
Mhm.
don't see him in the episode, but we see his wife, who also plays his wife in Warehouse 13. We saw Susan Hogan, only for a brief scene though. So
Yeah.
it's the only thing that we get there. And
that entire family's been in this series
this is
in real life.
this is the last episode that she is in Warehouse 13.
I like that Pete found the one payphone to call her at, too.
I know, right?
The one payphone that's left in the world. He finds it and he calls Myka's mom.
Payphones in 2011 were still a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
they weren't
was just
completely
funny.
gone. Still a thing. Yeah, still a thing. So yeah, the 3 guest stars of note, Skylar Wexler went on to play in Orphan Black. You had Susan Hogan and you had Roger Rees. And before we get to the quotes and favorite scenes and stuff like that, it was directed by Jack Kinney himself, who's the showrunner.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Kinney doesn't have a lot of directing credits. He has 7, of which there's 7 episodes of Warehouse 13. So they count all of those as one directing credit. And this was one that he directed. He also directed The Secret Santa, which was the holiday episode last season.
You must like the holiday ones.
Yeah. And then he directed a couple in season 4. So we'll see him. And then 3 in season 5, including Endless.
That I love that scene. Again, I'm not, I may not like all of season 5. There is a scene, it's the very last scene that I absolutely love, that I want a tattoo of that. It shows the warehouse, and then the camera tilts up and you see the stars and over the top of the warehouse. And then it's like endless wonder. I'm like, I somehow want that here on my arm. Yep. I have saved this particular spot for my warehouse stuff because I want to continue my steampunk stuff, which I name her Myka anyways. But I want to continue my steampunk stuff. It's just got to go around my Star Trek. It's somehow combined, but I want the words endless wonder right there.
That would be cool.
Talking about the episode Endless, there is another connection here. The teleplay. So it wasn't written by, there was 2 story by credits and a teleplay credit. And the teleplay credit was by John Paul Nickel. Now, John Paul Nickel has 12 writing credits, including 2 episodes of Warehouse 13 of Monsters and Men, 2 episodes of Warehouse 13 Grand Designs, an episode of Warehouse 13 teleplay, this episode, and 1 writing credit of Warehouse 13 Endless. So Jack Kinney and John Paul Nickel reunite for Endless. He also did an episode of National Treasure Edge of History. That's a series. It's not the movie.
I like that one.
And then also 6 episodes of a series called The Ark.
Oh, I've heard about that.
I haven't
watched it yet.
I might have heard about it.
Is it on Sci-Fi Now? I think it's on Sci-Fi Now, isn't it?
I don't have live TV. I don't know.
Let's see.
But Endless for National Treasure, The Edge of History, that's a good series.
Oh, okay. The Ark is it premiered on Sci-Fi February 1st, 2023. First season consisted 12 episodes.
I think that's the one that Dean Devlin is working on because I think I keep seeing him post.
The series was renewed for a second season, which premiered on July 17th. So second season is running right now.
Then, yeah, I think that's the one that Dean Devlin keeps posting on his.
Why do I know that name?
Librarians.
Oh.
Dean Devlin.
Dean Devlin did The Librarians. He did The Outpost, which is really
he a writer from Stargate?
No.
Speaking of Stargate, you were just talking about a while ago, kind of a side note back into it. I've been watching Sleepy Hollow with Sasha. I introduced her to it. So all the creepy videos, all the creepy episodes that come through, it says directed by Damien Kindler. Right? And Damien was a writer or director or whatever from Stargate, but then he went over to Sanctuary with Amanda Tapping. And they did Sanctuary together. So every time I see his name pop up on the end of Sleepy Hollow, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a creepy one. What?
Yeah, good old Sam Carter, Amanda Tapping. I don't think she needs to work anymore because she was in all 10 seasons of Stargate SG-1. She was in at least 1 season of Stargate Atlantis, right? Was it 1 or 2?
Yeah.
I think it was 1.
She was in several.
She guest starred in it a couple times, and then she became the commander in the
last season.
No, it wasn't the last one because that was Richard Picardo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it would have been the 4th season.
He was going to be in a new Star Trek show or TV show too, he's reprising his role as the Doctor.
As the Doctor, the holographic Doctor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many seasons were Atlantis? 6?
Atlantis? I thought it was only 5.
It's right. So she was in the 4th season then, because Picardo was in the last one.
Mm-hmm. I know she was commander for a while.
I thought that was a poor choice, but yeah, she was a commander for it.
We did see a lot of good artifacts in this episode. It was special effects
so
heavy.
Many. And cookies.
Yes, Artie makes the best cookies, oatmeal scotchies.
Oatmeal scotches.
I don't think I've ever had those before.
This one was really super cute. And if it was anybody that could do this episode as far as getting the band back together, it definitely needed to be Pete. As far as, when he went down to that Christmas aisle and he needed to put Rudolph's nose away and he's doing his little dance and sounding like Elvis and then he slips and things fall on him. One being the upholstery brush. I didn't get whose upholstery brush was. I was trying to, but
Philip Van Doren Stearns.
And he wrote a short story. I can't remember what the short story was.
Greatest Gift.
I know the name.
The Greatest Gift.
Stern.
Which A Wonderful Life was then based off of.
Yep.
And he's putting all that stuff back on the shelf and he's like, I'm going to sue Mrs. Fredrick for workman's comp or worksite injury as he's singing. And then he gets back into the office. One of the agents that was in there looked really familiar. Did you catch who the two people were that were the non-agent agents in the alternate timeline?
I did. He was in a few things. Yeah, he was in a few things, but I did not count him as a notable actor just because he wasn't really known for a lot, basically.
Okay.
So
his face just looked familiar.
Yeah, right. Charles Malik Whitfield is his name. I didn't write him down again because he's known for Behind Enemy Lines in 2001, Notorious in 2009, The Temptations, 2 episodes in 1998, and Fresh in 1994. But if you look at his IMDb, there is a couple of things, but not anything.
He sounds like a red shirt.
Kind of. He's got...
Maybe he just has one of those faces.
He's got a total of 110 credits to his name.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm not going to take anything.
A lot of red shirts.
6 episodes of Empire as Reverend Elsie Price is something that was in there. Now, I didn't watch it. 59 episodes of If Loving You Is Wrong.
Nope,
was his main thing. He was in an episode of Good Wife. CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, Sleepy Hollow, Scorpion.
Maybe that's it. Oh, it might be those two. I've seen both of those. Maybe
Sleepy Hollow, what season?
The Mentalist.
Oh, I love The Mentalist. That was
this
a good
is all
show.
just one episode, though. So he's just been in a lot, but one episode. 4
Maybe
episodes
that's
of
what it is.
Supernatural.
Well, if he was in Sleepy Hollow, he definitely died. I'm just saying.
Maybe that's what it was. I saw him in several of those other shows that I've watched, and that's where I caught him from.
Have either one of you ever seen Sleepy Hollow?
Yes. I
didn't
loved
watch
it. It was good.
I like the fact that it's mixed in with history because I like, the Revolutionary War is my favorite war.
It is right up your alley.
But,
I'm surprised you haven't seen it before.
I have seen it before, but I quit watching it a long time ago when my favorite character left. But back, the main chick, Nicole Bahari, I think her name was. She was a hottie. Oh my goodness. She's so so cute. Nicole Bahari, and I think she left to become director somewhere. But when she left, I kind of quit watching it and I didn't go into the 4th season. But then I started watching it with Basasha and she figures everything out before it even happens. I'm like, you could be a writer. But then we got into the 4th season and now they're in DC. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I love history. Everything about it is revolutionary. So I'm like, why did this not last longer?
Speaking of DC, it was really funny to watch Pete end up going to DC to find Myka so that he could try to get the band back together. And he comes into her office and just goes, kapow! And has somebody else's tag. And she's like, did you just admit to a federal offense? He's like, kind of.
Maybe. You're the only woman that I'd ever fall into a bar.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess if you haven't been watching the series and you just tuned in because it was a holiday episode, because that was the thing. I don't think this was the only holiday episode that aired that day. Maybe Eureka also had a holiday episode or something like that. Anyway, you wouldn't know that he was an alcoholic. That did not come out in this episode. But that's why he said that, because he doesn't walk into bars. And Myka was drinking, though. Drinking hard. I mean,
tonic.
You would have to. Somebody
She's
would just upend your life like that.
I mean, her secretary bought her that pin, right? It's Mont Blanc.
I just love how like stuck up she was to begin with, and then you see her start actually liking Pete and liking what he's talking about, and every time she's like, "No way, I'm not doing that. I don't believe anything." And then he proves her wrong, and she's like, a little bit at a time gets chipped away. And I love the scene where they're hiding in the freezers, and he's like, "Shebang," and she's like, "Shebang too," right?
Yeah, shebang
so,
too.
I mean, she's getting into it.
Now remember, she didn't shoot Pete because it's less paperwork.
I know it's my girl.
It's less paperwork. As soon as she said that, I was like, there's for Shannon.
I knew you were going to think of me. It's so much paperwork.
I'll listen to you, but only because it's less paperwork.
And when they went in to go see Artie, and he was trying to explain, Pete was trying to explain everything, and Artie's like, "What did you touch?"
Yeah, she's looking at him like,
he believed him.
Wait, you guys are speaking the same language? Wait, what? Because, as you see Pete talk about, and as Artie comes in, he's like, "I was trying to snag, bag," and Pete's like, his face lights up. "Oh, yeah, snag, bag, and tag. Yeah, I was there."
Yeah. Well, he names the artifact, the bloodstone, and says the artifact, and those key terms get Artie's attention right away. And then
Pete's attention.
Yeah. No, though Pete saying those things got Artie's attention. Yeah. And then all of a sudden Artie's like figuring out what's going on. I'm like, there's an artifact. Yes.
Does it
Myka's
falling
like,
on me count? He's like, well, yeah, that brush. It means you've now been erased.
It was so hokey watching them fake run away from each other too.
Oh my God. It was like slow motion, like B-movie slow motion. You're waiting for like Chariots of Fire to start playing or something like that.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about that song in forever. I can only hear it now. It's all I'm going to hear now.
You're welcome.
It's all I'm going to hear now.
But it was funny where Pete's like, "Yeah, I've saved the world several times. What do you mean I don't exist?" Myka starts cracking up. You saved the world? Like, I had how?
I really, even though it's a holiday, and of course you're going to pick the holiday movie, I really like how they intertwined the series, not the series, but the episode into being It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really loved, I think my favorite part was at the end when he was hugging everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was leaning down to kiss Lena's hand, the look on his face when he looked over Mrs. Fredrick, right?
Yeah.
And that was my favorite part because he's like, "I've gone too far, haven't I?"
Yeah, he gives her, she stands up and she's like, and he goes, "Oh, okay," and gives her a great big hug, and then realizes everybody else is looking at him like,
everyone's like, "No,
what
you should have done that.
You just do?"
But you also
even trailer.
Yeah,
you
even
also
the
see
dog was
Mrs.
like,
Fredrick laugh. You see her laugh at the end when they're all worried about what he was going to say, and she's like, "Oh, never mind." Right?
He should have come clean. He should have told him, "I touched an artifact where because this is for his own mental health, right? I touched an artifact, I didn't exist, and I had to fight my way back to exist again. And terrible things happened, including he was about to die because he was falling into the Fornax, which is a big thing that comes up later in the series. And he snapped back to his own reality as he was falling into the Earth's core, basically, the lava pit down there.
Yeah, I agree. He should have said something.
I love Artie. She's like, Claudia says, "That's how you guys heat the warehouse?" He's like, "Well, you should see the air conditioner."
The only thing I think of when I hear that is there's a stupid movie with Tommy Lee Jones called Man in the House where he plays a ranger or an agent or something like that, and he's protecting cheerleaders because they have witnessed a death or a crime or something like that, and so they need to hide them away as witnesses. So he's called in to be their witness protection, but they're cheerleaders. So he is living in this house with them to try to protect them, and they're dressing very skimpily, and he's this old guy. So he can't get them to put on clothes until he literally orders an industrial scale air conditioner and orders it on the dime of whatever law enforcement agency he's with, and it gets delivered. It's like $3 million, and it's plopped right next to the house. And he turns down the thermostat to like -20. That's the only way he can get these girls to wear more clothes.
That's funny. I really like him as an actor. I think he plays an agent in almost everything he does. But
yeah,
I like him. He's one of my favorite actors.
Mm-hmm. There were a lot, and I think the writers and everything, they must have had like a blast putting together Claudia's wall of Artie in the insane asylum that she was in, because they're like, okay, now we have to go pick up Claudia, and Artie's like, oh, you're gonna want to let me go in and talk to her. And he steps in there and he's just kind of like, Claudia. And then he turns around and he looks, this whole wall is covered with Artie stuff. He lied. I need to find him. My brother. It's like, there's a lot in there. If you hit pause, you could like read all of the stuff. I mean, they must have had a blast creating all of the things. And he just looks at it and his jaw basically drops to the floor as she locks him in. I was hoping you'd stop by.
She was scary, wasn't she?
And she has like a lamp. She's like has a lamp plugged into the wall, and she's shocking him with it. Meanwhile, Pete's on the outside saying,
"Yes." At the end of it,
yeah. Meanwhile, Pete's on the outside going, "No, we know where your brother is. He's in a different dimension. You're not crazy. We need the compass and these things." And he starts explaining the whole thing, and she opens the door, and she's like, "Tell me more." And then,
what do you need me to do? Basically hack into this building in the middle of South Dakota Badlands. Oh, Warehouse 13? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that for years.
I have one request. Afterwards, I get him.
He's like, wait a minute. He's like, that's fine. Shocking you is kind of your thing.
That was a nice scene. But my favorite scene, Shannon, you said your favorite scene. My favorite scene is when they get to the warehouse and they're going in the back door, and Claudia opens it, and then she says, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. That's the same episode.
Myka was the only one that knew how to say in Arabic, open sesame, because the door was from, what was it, Warehouse 9. It was the entrance to Warehouse 9. And everybody's, and how Pete keeps dropping HG's name. And Myka's like, why do you keep mentioning his name? He's like, actually, it's a her. And you guys are kind of best friends. She says, just stop talking. More and more like my Myka every day.
Every day. And then she's the only one that says endless wonder.
Yep.
Definitely going to get a tattoo of that.
And as Artie comes in, he goes, honey, I'm home.
Yes. Yes. But he's not completely home because he's still injected with the stuff that.
Yeah, it was the opposite this time. And Lena had the necklace for him.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn, what was your favorite part?
Actually, some of that was my favorite part. I think the end where he's hugging everybody and he's just being all goofy and he lands in the Christmas aisle and he just throws the brush away and he's like, nope, not again. And then you just see him like attack everybody. Myka! And she's like, no, I'm not taking your duty. She's like, no, I don't want you. I'm just really glad you're here. I also really, it was really a good one where they come back and Claudia is trying to get him to wear red. And then Pete and Myka are like, what gives? You've been looking forward to this meeting in Las Vegas with her forever. He says, yes. But then my dad found out and he guilted me into having him come with me. And then somehow Hugo found out. And he's like, well, I need to undo the gooery and I need to do the security things and I can't go. Claudia, I'm going to come with you. She says, no, I'm going skiing and I'm not letting you and my brother sit there and talk about physics forever. And then Pete, I'll take the warehouse. No, I drew the short straw. I'm staying, you're going. And then you see Myka, it's okay. You can come with me. I'm sure that Hugo will keep Vanessa company. And the look on Artie's face of like, I hate you.
When he growls at her. Yeah.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
So I'm pretty sure that Artie's dad just wanted to spend time with his girlfriend just to get to know her and that sort of thing. Like, okay, you're seeing this woman.
I don't think so.
I want to meet her.
Vegas.
And yeah, well, that's where they went. I don't know why Vanessa wanted to go to Vegas, but they did. Maybe to see shows.
No one ended up in Vegas except for Hugo and his dad because there was a really big snowstorm that helped hit South Dakota. Good grief. South Dakota. So no one, even Mrs. Fredrick, she was like, yes, it's that bad. Mrs.
Wouldn't that mean that Vanessa's in South Dakota with them?
No, Vanessa doesn't live in South Dakota. She comes and visits and does house calls.
Just Artie. But if she's not there and not stuck, then she could have went to Vegas. So clearly
he said that Artie said at the end that she was stuck wherever she was too. So she couldn't even get out. So,
but the sad part is that she's spending Christmas alone.
Maybe she found nice people in the hotel she's in or something.
Speaking of alone, even though this is the second holiday episode that they've done, this is the first time that I remember them all sitting together, posing right there on that couch together, even with trailer right in front. I thought that was I've always thought that was a cool screenshot. Well, a long time ago, I used to have that screenshot when I had thousands upon thousands of pictures saved in my phone for all the Warehouse 13 stuff. I used to have that.
It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. The one big hang up about it is the warehouse is destroyed. And then you come in with this. It's like, I get what they were saying in that behind the scenes. They were saying that this happened before the event. I know, but it kind of takes away the severity of it. Yeah. It's like most people don't talk or think in terms of time dilation when they're watching these episodes. So
it was
it's my big beef.
Pretty devastating explosion that took two we lost 3 agents in one episode. So,
and this is probably why Jack Kenny would have said no more Christmas episodes, or this Sci-Fi Channel was like, yeah, this is a bad idea because it just doesn't fit your storylines.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Cute. Some of the funniest one-liners, while Claudia is trying to break into said warehouse, she says, "Not now, Gramps, I'm being awesome."
Yeah, you mentioned before that you thought Pete was the only one that could have brought everybody together. I submit that Claudia
could do it.
Also,
that's true. She
successfully
She's
bring
very
everybody.
convincing.
I think Myka and Artie could have done it, but it would have been more difficult for each of them.
Yeah. Claudia could have done it too, but it was nice to see Pete because he has that childlike wonder in his face, and he's just the big goof, and he could convince them.
Endless wonder or endless quite a bit in this episode, probably more so than because before you've heard it like once or in a blue moon once or twice a season, and that's all you get. This, you heard it several times. And I liked it. I liked how it resonated. It really brought out the cool stuff. As we talked before a couple episodes ago, this is a very dark series. Bad things happen, very bad things. Death happens, very gruesome death happens. And for them to hook their flaws into something that's benevolent, I think really helped the series going into season 4, in addition to the cliffhanger.
Endless wonder. I remember this, when this series came out and phones weren't as smart as they are now. I had a Motorola like eons ago where you could you could type the top of your phone. You could like have a wording typed up there. And that was what I had up there for the longest time, was Endless Wonder. Nobody ever got it. I was the only one that ever got it. But I was like, it's cool. It's Endless Wonder. It's Warehouse 13.
I had this background on my laptop the one I was telling you about, with the one where they did the pen shot with the warehouse, and it was perfect color blue and had the stars above it and Endless Wonder. I'm like, that's what I want as a tattoo.
Now, last season with Secret Santa, I did not rate it well. It's sitting right now at 27 out of 38. This one, it was good. It wasn't
pretty good one.
the best. It was good, so I put it up at 10, right below Claudia.
Well, this one, unlike the last one, focuses on the crew, not Larry Noodle.
What do you guys think about the absence of Jinx? I mean, if this is supposed to happen before the events of the finale, Jinx should have been around.
Well, if you heard in the end when Claudia was trying to get schnapps from Mrs. Fredrick in her drink, she says, I should have left with Jinx. Or Steve. I think she says Steve.
I think they're implying that he was there, but he left. But how could he go somewhere when it's in a blizzard, Bubble Guppies?
I think it's because he already left before the blizzard happened. So.
Bubble Guppies.
Bubble Guppies. But yeah, I did hear that part, and it was how I think they explained him not being there.
It's a shame because this was his one and only shot. So, anything else for the episode, Carolyn?
The only food that I saw was candy cane, cookies, because he came out with his oatmeal scotchies in his red jacket.
Had to try some of those.
I'm guessing it was hot cocoa that they were drinking.
Probably.
You never know.
Unless it was Mrs. Fredrick. She was spiking hers with something. Schnapps. Oh, when they get into the when they're in the alternate timeline and they get into the Christmas aisle, Pete goes, and it's completely empty because McPherson is going to destroy all of the artifacts just to keep his own timeline. Pete gets in there, he goes, oh, humbug. There's nothing in there. So they have to go find him. And McPherson bronzes Mrs. Fredrick. And as Pete and Myka are saving Artie and Claudia, and Pete looks over as they've gotten saved and goes, they bronzed Mrs. Fredrick. And Artie's like, she'll keep. We have to go get to this thing.
I wonder which one. I wonder which agent dropped. They stepped over one of the bronze. Was that the blonde guy? Was that?
Oh, the one that crashed, fell on his face.
Yeah,
I don't know who that was.
I think that was the agent. No, that could have been him. Never mind.
I don't know. I think it was just
he looked like
an
the agent
and just somebody
that Rebecca was with. But
the other funny thing was looking at my notes as they're coming in through the back door. And they're getting to where they're about to be in the warehouse. And you just hear this bang, 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 bang. And then you hear Artie, Pete, pull. Would it kill you to put a sign on the door? I'll get right on that. It just reminds me of the Far Side. If you guys remember Far Side comics. And it was
Medville School for the Gifted. Yeah.
Yeah. And it says push or pull, and he's pushing on it. He's the School for the Gifted. Yeah.
Medville School for the Gifted. Yeah. I remember that well. It was on when I was in college. It was on the door at the bank in student area, and it's still got. I went to school with some very smart people, and it's still got about half the people there. Anyway, Shannon, anything else, Shannon, for this episode?
Well, we did get some feedback.
We did. I was just going to bring that up. The email that you sent us from Jennifer Murphy. She said, your podcast was a great discovery. I'm still pretty new to podcasts, but in doing a quick search for sci-fi shows I loved, I stumbled on your show. First, bravo for helping me to relive the joy that is Warehouse 13. Yes. I have rewatched this show many times, and yet you still point out things I missed.
Sweet.
I agree with you that the Di-Fi channel, her words, not mine, Di-Fi channel really blew it with not capitalizing on the show more.
Freaking Di-Fi.
The writing, directing, and acting was outstanding. I can currently stream it on Amazon Prime without having to pay extra for it. You three are so much fun to listen to, and I look forward to going through all of the episodes with you. Keep it up, Jennifer Murphy. Thank you very much, Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. We're glad you're having lots of fun listening to us.
She used my word, Di-Fi.
I know. I saw that and I was like, oh, Shannon's
Freaking
going to love that.
Die-fi, stupid-ass channel.
She sent that email to Shannon's email, which is warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. It's warehouse13, the number 13, fancast@gmail.com. And if you are listening to this or watching on the YouTube, you can go ahead and send us an email and we will read it on a future show. Thank you so much for that one, though, Jennifer. Also, in the future, I would love to hear how you found out about the show. So if you write us, let us know how exactly you found it. Were you just searching somewhere or did somebody tell you about it or whatever? So just let us know. That's great. So, and Jennifer, you are more than welcome to email us again after you catch up and you actually hear this.
Yeah, definitely.
I love how she says she's rewatched it so many times. I'm like, me too. For so many years.
Kindred spirits.
For so many years. Let's talk Warehouse 13. And then let's talk Bearing and Wells.
Most definitely.
Can't do one without the other.
Thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate you.
Next time, we will be covering Warehouse 13 Season 4 premiere. Season 4, Episode 1, A New Hope. Shannon, I'm going to ask you the question. Which do you want to hear the description from? IMDb, TVGuide.com, or Amazon Prime Video?
God, never TV Guide. IMDb, or whatever those initials are.
Yeah. A wise choice, by the way. Warehouse 13 has been destroyed. Pandora's box has been opened. And quite possibly the only hope left in the world lies in the use of a dangerous, evil artifact with the ability to turn back time.
So that's what the box was that he gave to Lena, Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny because the episode I just watched last night on Sleepy Hollow dealt with Pandora box.
It's everywhere. It's the artifacts.
It's everywhere.
They're everywhere. The artifacts are everywhere.
He gave it what? When did they give it the Pandora's box?
On that last episode. He came in and he gave it to Lena and said, this is a gift from your former employer or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's what. Okay.
And I was like, what is that box? So
because it was covered up. Yep.
What's in the
guessing
box?
It was Pandora's box. Put your hand in the box.
Yeah, next episode is going to be wild. And again, we get, I think, our last Star Trek actor.
Brent Spiner.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the last out of 6 I think we've had, right? 6?
Had a few. Yeah.
Him.
Oh, you're going to make me count.
Yes. Janeway.
7 of 9. Hugo. Renee. And then...
they got to play Quark.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. You got to play Quark.
Kasan.
Son. Artie, if you count him.
No.
Okay, fine.
I'm going to count him. I'm going to counterman you there. I'm going to count him.
Who's the other one?
He was definitely memorable in TNG as the Collector.
I'm missing one. Oh, Jerry Ryan.
7 of 9, yeah, I said her.
I think we already said her. She's that one.
All right, you can figure that out, and we'll have our audience let us know what we got wrong there.
Somebody can email us and say, here's your list.
Warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. All right, ladies, I am done for the week. I am the Janitor SP.
And he has spoken.
Is this Sci-Fi Girl?
This is
Find me on Twitter.
363. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by SoundMake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com.
Imagine your hand being like when your hand's numb, like
oh yeah, it's happened when I've slept.
Times 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it
Guys
gets
call
so
it
bad.
the stranger. Yeah.
It gets so bad that I see whatever joke you just made. I can't hear you.
Said the guys call it the stranger.
Why?
Because if your hand goes numb, you can't feel it. Then it's a stranger.
Okay.
He's a funny guy. He just flew it tonight. Well, I mean, I did wear the I licked it, so it's mine.
I have one of those too, but it doesn't have Stitch on it. It's just words. With the smiley face with the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
But I get told it's too provocative. I don't know why. I did lick it. It is mine. So why is my light flickering? You'll see that, right?
I see your lights flickering.
It's possessed in here.
It's not just your eyeballs. Don't worry, it's not just you.
I don't know what's going on.
It might be a smart bulb that's going out or an LED that's going out.
I don't know. Maybe Michaela's talking to dead people again.
That's a possibility.
It's a true possibility.